What is up, YouTube? I believe in the last couple of clips you saw me put the engine in, do a little outro, but now we got it home. It's in the garage. I haven't really done much to it since. I do have some AN line for my oil cooler. Just sitting here, I got it out. I got one of the fittings for the factory oil cooler or GM stuff pulled out, so that way I can kind of figure out what I need. Ended up ordering 3 different sizes, so hopefully one of them works. Those should be coming next Friday. So for right now, I'm gonna probably get this front grill off while I got a few minutes. Between other projects, like I said earlier, just got lights in here, outlets, so might do a little garage build or a garage update here and there. Got the plastic up there, need to get the ceiling done, then I can start doing the walls. I would love to do the floors, don't know if that's going to happen. It's getting a little cold, and I obviously want it to cure correctly if I do an epoxy floor or something like that. So don't think that's going to happen. Probably not to be in the spring, something like that. But nonetheless, I'll be able to do a lot in here, get my toolbox moved over there, and all that good stuff. So probably going to remove this engine cover and the grill, so that way I can get access to the trans cooler, because I'll be taking the trans cooler off of that truck and putting it on this one along with all the lines, because that's got -8 and lines for the cooling and all that stuff. Because these trucks and most modern trucks, SUVs, the cooler lines tend to leak at the hard line and rubber fittings. Very common across many years. So obviously I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with it. So that's why I got trans cooler lines, and because the trains got a little warm pulling some stuff. So a bigger cooler was also in the works. So nothing left to get at it. So I'm going to set you down and we're going to get into it. So after a little bit of hassle, we got the beauty trim off, I got the grill off. This is that small dinky trans cooler that GM put on these things from the factory. You'll see how much bigger my other one is, but I can probably, take this bracket off, because I know the other one I modified to fit that big cooler, and I wanted that bracket to obviously support the grill. Otherwise it'd be 2 clips in the bottom and then 4 bolts at the top. I wanted a little bit more than that, so we got that off. Gonna try to probably get this off today, this episode, something like that. Get these trans cooler lines out. I know the one is plugged. I don't really want to get trans fluid all over my floor, but I should be able to get it if I just move that. Those will get washed. It'll be fine. that. Just gotta get that line out, but I'll see you in a minute. Right now I'm kind of working on getting the radiator out because I got a new cold case radiator. When I was trying to get my trans cooler lines fitted into the cooler, the oil cooler lines, because I made AN lines for the oil cooler. Tried to get it into the radiator, but when I pulled the old fitting out, it pushed the cooler in and it started leaking out of there. So that wasn't ideal. So I ended up buying a new radiator. Like I said, that cold case over there. Had to buy a few adapters because they used some wonky fittings to get in that they welded in the radiator. So I had to go from that to -8 AN, but nonetheless, I got it. You know, everything I should need to make it work. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to get this pulled out. Shouldn't be too bad. 2 connectors for each fan, a couple bolts. This just has locating pins at the bottom, like right down there. 1 on each side, pretty simple. And then another couple bolts for the radiator itself, and it's just got locating pins at the bottom. So, alright, so got the radiator out. Got it straining in the trash can over there. Went fairly smooth. Didn't get a whole lot of coolant on the floor. I've got some carpets down there, some moving blankets to kind of prevent it from getting on my concrete, but I caught most of it, and a couple catch pans. But got my cold case radiator here. Part number is GMT569A. Looks pretty good for the most part. They give you a handful of fittings to kind of retain the stock cooler lines for the trans or the engine cooler, but obviously I have AN lines, so I had to get a few different fittings. So these ones are pretty straightforward. Those ones are a Russell. They're going to be these power steering ones. And then for the engine oil cooler, those ones took a little bit more work and effort to figure out because they use a 20 by 1.5 thread in the radiator, which is kind of strange. So that's this Vibrant Performance one here. I ended up getting 2 of those, and then I had to reduce it down because the only way to get this 20 by 1.5 thread was to have a -10 and so I had to reduce that down with a couple Pergola fittings, but nonetheless I'm going to get those kind of buttoned up. These Vibrant Performance fittings I had to sand down because the threads were too long, but they came with some washers, so I'm probably going to put a little bit of pipe dope on there and use that washer to kind of help prevent this thing from leaking on us. So this petcock, I wonder if this is, no, that's not even tight. I'm going to tighten that too. So should be getting this thing tossed in here in a few minutes, and then I can probably start working on getting the headers in. I got my gaskets up there, bolts are on the bench, so alright, let's quit talking about it, let's be about it. Alright, so we got the radiator in, got the cooling fans back in, everything's hooked back up. Everything looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The only thing that I really kind of not a super big fan of is the corners on the radiator where you bolt it into the core support. They were pretty sharp, so I filed them down a little bit so that way I don't gut my arms or anything. But other than that, I'm probably going to put the intake in it. Under the hood is kind of getting close to being wrapped up. really isn't too many more things to do other than headers. I'm going to try to make this a little bit better. I think I have some other parts and pieces from when I ordered the headers and the Y pipe to make it a little bit more streamlined, because I can get, I believe, just a straight section from that Y pipe to my main pipe from the exhaust into the muffler. So what's going on, YouTube? Look back at it. I'm trying to get the suspension blown out of this thing so that way it can go in my other truck. So without further ado, let's get into it.
hook. Somewhere stuck there, so good old orb freak. Just not see it. But anyway, I have the other side 4 bar actually. I better filming and stuff, so that's what I normally see this. I get 4 bars.
Last couple of days, we got the suspension most of the way back together. I got the rough country 3.5 inch N3 lift struts, leveling struts. Got my control arms cleaned up. They were covered in grease and all that. Got those thrown in there. New sway bar links up in there. Some crusty. Waiting on tie rod and boots and bulging boots so that way I can pull all this thing down. Let's see what else. I did the NorCal mod. I got some seam sealer on that body, seam on both sides. So I'm just gonna let that dry, paint it, and then I'll hammer it. Back up and out of the way. We got the rear wheel liners in for rock lights. I have a set of rock lights that go right above the axle. Those are in also. I have to swap the rear hitches because this one is rotted out early this summer. Working on getting the wires for my rock light switch into the cab. I have switching everything already with like little housing in the dash. I got this piece off of Etsy, I believe. There's a guy with a 3D printing company that makes them that goes in this bezel. It's usually an empty little slot in the dash, but fits pretty good. The switches are some Amazon brand. So I'll be working on that shortly. Get the wires through here. I got some other stuff I believe I have to pull through there, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that at the same time. Headers are on, spark plug wires are on. It's got oil, it's got some coolant. I gotta do a vac and fill on it so that way there isn't any air in the system. But hopefully before too long I can button up my rock lights. Some of the mounts are a little rusty, so I'm going to take the lights off, clean them up, repaint them, then I'll probably install them. I'll have 2 that go under the doors. I have 2 that come under the front end, kind of where the skid plate is, splash shield, whatever you want to call it. So that is kind of what I'll be working on the next few days. That and also getting my Y pipe on. I had a 3.5 inch section of pipe that I believe that came with it, but at the time I knew I was going to be doing this later down the road, so I just didn't use it until now. But it's working in my favor. Welded that up. Should be able to get this installed, but I'm waiting on Jegs to send me a transmission pan. Found a bigger one that'll hold an extra 1.5 quart, because why not? I have really good access to it. Throw a new pan on there with a new filter, but they're taking forever to ship it, so we'll see if that goes on or not. It's pretty cool looking pan. It's all aluminum, got cooling fans, pretty high performance looking, so had to buy it. So hopefully they send it out. I'd really like to get it and put it on instead of getting my money back, but if that's what it comes to, that's what it comes to. I'll just get a new filter and put the old stock pan back on it. So gotta do what I gotta do. I'd like to kind of start this thing. I sent the ECM out, so once that gets back, we will try to get this thing in and fired. I got snow coming this weekend. Hopefully it doesn't actually land and stick, otherwise we'll slow things down a little bit, and then probably work on doing some interior stuff. So, but gotta button up current projects first, so before we start any new ones. So that is all that I've got tonight. You obviously know what I'll be working on the next few days, so I'll see you on the next update. Alright, last update for the video. This one's taken about a month to film, just kind of get put together for clips and whatnot. So we got the cold air intake in. The engine is pretty much all done, other than getting the coolant air free, get it vacuum filled. Rock lights are almost done. Got a couple things to button up there. Nothing too serious. Got the ECM sent out. I should be getting that within the next couple of days. Cooler lines hooked up. Mostly everything is done. Got the LTZ grill in. All that's put back together. Suspension is most of the way done. Waiting on Kryptonite to get me the new boots for the ball joints and my tie rod ends. Sway bar links are on. I actually did source some newer body style Silverado calipers. Shout out to my boy Peter for hooking me up with these. So that is going to be something I do in a later video. I'm really looking forward to that. Just got the new PPE transpan put on, so that'll get me an extra 1.5 quarts of fluid, which will be very nice to have. So the only thing I really have to do now is get my ECM back, get fluid set, get them, button up the exhaust. Got the white pipe over here. Was able to extend the white pipe down some. I gotta get obviously all this stuff installed. I gotta remove the rear cross member for the trans, or the trans cross member, in order to get it put in. So that'll probably be in the next upload, just kind of buttoning things up and then getting it ready to fire, and obviously the first startup, which is something I'm very excited for. This has been in the process for a while. Maybe I'll make a video on that in the future, of kind of where I started and the path, the journey of the 6.2 getting dropped in here. So that is obviously it for this upload, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. So I guess I will see you next time on the startup video.